mushrooms were the big thing, and the mushrooms the were painted orange and green and brown. But yeah, they took earth tones and just really upped the colors on them to be really bright.
Okay. So, number question 10. What TV Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. What TV. No, you already answered that one basically. It was a TV show then. I read that email was created in the 70s. Was this a common thing to use, and did people like to communicate through email?
No,
No?
nobody had computers. We didn't have during my years of growing up, we didn't have computers, and the computers that they had at the offices that I worked at were like huge computers. It wasn't like the laptops and stuff like that. But no, the regular person did not have one. At least the regular middle class person didn't.
So it was just communication through like mail. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the telephone that was attached to the wall by a cord.
Right. Pager.
Yeah, and mail, and that was it.
Okay. Did every house. Oh, wait, no. What was your favorite band, singer, music, or artist back in the 70s?
Oh my gosh. In the early 70s, it was the Partridge Family. It was David Cassidy. Later, it was Queen. Queen and Boston were probably my two favorite bands.
Okay. Are there any stories that you'd like to share that you experienced during this time period?
There were so many. Being a teenager, we all have a lot of stories. Um, it was it was kind of an interesting time, especially now, looking back now that I work with teenagers and I see how we functioned, without cell phones, without the
Right.
computers and all the technology. Um, but our favorite thing to do on a Friday night would be we would cruise 7th Street in Victorville. And they had this little taco joint called Noggles. It was a chain. I don't even think they're around anymore. And we would go to Noggles and you'd get French fries and a soda, and you would just sit there and watch the other kids go through the drive-through. But that was the big hangout.
Okay. That's pretty cool. What are your thoughts on the Watergate scandal?
I honestly didn't have any. It didn't. It didn't affect me.
Right, like the Vietnam War, right?
Right. I
That's
was.
more
Yeah.
political.
I was just too. I figure I was. During the 70s, I was between the ages of 10 and 20, and during that time, I was just too caught up in my own little world.
Okay. Were you inspired by anyone from the 70s? If so, why?
Um, I was a big Dorothy Hamill fan. She was a very famous ice skater. Uh, I never ice skated a day in my life, but I remember thinking that she was just like the coolest athlete to me.
Right. Okay. What were your thoughts on the age for voting from 21 to 18? And did you vote?
I did. I don't I don't remember when that was done. I don't remember when I first voted, but I remember I thought it was really cool. But then I had an issue with the fact if I'm old enough to vote, why couldn't I drink? I mean, that was a big thing that every 18-year-old was saying. Cool, we can vote, we can serve in the military, but we can't have alcohol. So yeah, at 18, that was an issue.
So, in this 1978, there was a massacre in Jonestown. Were you personally affected by it?
I remember hearing about it. I remember thinking how sad it was, but that was about it. Just that it was sad.
In your opinions, what is the 70s known for?
Oh my gosh, disco. disco was a big thing in the 70s. Yeah. Saturday Night Fever and the other disco movies like that, and the Bee Gees and that kind of stuff.
Is Saturday Night Disco the one with the guy in the front and he's like that, right?
Yes,
John
John
Travolta.
Travolta. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the guys with their long hair and their, big chops, sideburns. But, yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite toy in the 70s and why?
We used to play lawn jarts, is what it was called. And it's amazing how things have changed. I had these two big plastic hoops that you'd put out on your lawn, and you would have a dart with a sharp end. And this is a legit game that you could buy at the store, and you would throw the dart and try to get it, to land, to stick. You'd have to throw it hard enough that the sharp point would have to stick in the ground. And yeah, I used to love that game. And I can't even believe my parents would let us play it, because there is no way I would have let my children play with something like that.
Okay, this is question 22. What was your favorite genre of music and why?
Well, don't tell anybody, but probably disco.
Disco?
Yeah, but shh. Yeah,
Okay.
the Bee Gees, I loved them.
And what was that song? What was that movie called again?
Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night
I
Fever.
actually stood in line for like 2 hours at the movie theater to go see it when it first came out. Again, don't tell anybody. Shh.
Okay, if you were able to go back in the 70s, what would you change and why? Do you think it would change time or anything in the present?
Yes, I would, and it's not because I work at a school, but I would have taken my education more seriously. I did one of the old, barely get through high school kind of plans. And I've had plenty of good jobs, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I wish I would have gone on to college. I wish I would have, furthered my education and probably done more with my life, would have done things differently in high school. Yeah, I think I would have worked harder in school.
Okay. Do you have any crazy stories from your childhood? This is the last question, by the way.
Gosh, you already got the lawn chart story.
If you can't think of anything, that's fine.
I can't think of anything right now. If I had had time to think, I could have come up with hundreds of crazy stories.
Okay, then, so
But, yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
thank you so much for doing the interview, too.
Oh, you're very welcome.